this? Omarosa Trump?
Yeah, how do you feel about her?
I mean, how do I feel about Omarosa? So I admit that I don't really know everything about her, except I know that she was the only black woman in the White House. She's the Olivia Pope, was the only one. That Wendy Williams slags her off, and that Trump's being absolutely hateful to her at the moment, and that she might have him on tape making racist comments and
in 400 yards, turn left.
Being inappropriate, basically. So we can turn the sat nav off now, I think. What did she used to do? So her job in the White House was to stop black on black crime, right?
Yeah, she was almost the representative for African Americans.
She was the African American representative in the White House.
Yeah.
And
now there's no African.
now there's no African Americans in the White House, so I'm sure she's upset about that. I am, because if you know who's representing us in the White House, I think it should be a black person. Why did Trump fire her?
Apparently, first of all, it wasn't even Trump. It was John Kelly, and
John Kelly, but Trump obviously got John Kelly to fire him, right? Because he's the president.
Yeah,
Wait, who put her in the White House?
Donald Trump.
So Trump hired her, but got John Kelly to fire her.
Yeah, but and Trump is acting like, as it's in recordings, that he
didn't know anything about it.
Didn't know
and
anything
he's
about
acting
it.
like something. So darling, it wasn't me. It's the powers that be over me who made the decision.
Yeah, he said they quote run a big operation.
If he didn't agree with it, why didn't he oppose it?
That's a good question. He called her the next day. He heard it on the news.
So he called her the next day and was like, "Oh, hi babe, sorry, I've just found out that they fired you. I'm so sorry, and I'm going to do what about it?" Nothing.
Didn't say anything.
Didn't say anything.
Damn it.
Just said, "Oh, shame."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I really didn't want that to happen."
Yeah.
And what she is saying is that she thinks he's behind it.
Yeah, or she's saying it shows that he doesn't know what's going on in the White House. And she's saying that anyway in her book, that he's a liar, he doesn't know what's going on, and she was complicit in it, and she regrets being complicit in it.
So she actually was. So she admits she was complicit.
She regrets being complicit in being a liar to the American people.
And she admits to being a liar to the American
Yeah.
people and regrets it.
Yeah.
And she was lying in the way that she protected the president from the people knowing that he has no idea what's going on in the White House.
Yeah.
But now she's exposing him
Yeah.
and letting everyone know that he doesn't know what's going on in the White House.
Yeah.
And she has a recording of him admitting that or showing?
She says that the recording of him not knowing that she was fired
shows
proof enough.
that she doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But come on, it doesn't show that he doesn't know what's going on. I think if anything it shows that he doesn't want to admit that he was part of the firing of her.
Yeah.
Well, either way he's between a rock and a hard place, because either he's got to own up and say, yes, I did get Kelly to fire you and I did know about it, or yes, it's true, I don't know anything that's going on in the White House and I had no idea.
The issue is with Omarosa too. A lot of people are criticizing her.
Yeah, but why don't they like her?
That's the point. And so people like Wendy Williams, how do you feel about her criticizing
Well,
Omarosa?
first of all, Wendy Williams, as a black American woman, you know, even a light-skinned black American woman, you know, she's black. I think black women attacking black women or character assassinating other black women in power, influential women attacking other black influential women or powerful women, is out of order, especially unless they have done something that is wrong and against the people, or they've been a hypocrite and not delivered what they said they would or could deliver. And from what I can see, and I admit that I don't know everything. I wouldn't say I'm the most political person by any stretch of the imagination, but I can't see what Omarosa has done wrong. Like, what did she do wrong to the people What has she done wrong for America or for Black America, who she was representing? And what does she do wrong to Donald Trump?
They're only saying that she, from what John Kelly alluded to when he fired her in the recording, he said that she used a car to go to a baseball game. She's saying these allegations are baseless, though, and he, John Kelly, never even spoke with her once when she was hired. This was their first time speaking. He's the chief of staff. He's supposed
He's
to be
never
the
even
boss.
spoke to her.
He's never even spoken to her, and she thinks he just wanted to get rid of her from the beginning.
But does she admit to using a state car or an office car to go to a baseball match?
She's been kind of coy. She might have, but it's
She's
not.
saying
it's not
even
a-
if she did, when you say she's being coy, she's avoiding.
Yeah.
So the truth probably is that she did use an official car for a domestic personal event,
Yeah.
but she's saying that those are not grounds for firing her.
Exactly.
Because it's not a huge crime, although they're saying she's taken advantage. So they've had to scratch and search and find something to have on her,
Yeah.
so that they could fire her. But meanwhile, he's the chief of staff, and he's never even addressed her or
Never.
spoken to her. But as chief of staff, she's working under him.
Yeah, he says in the recording, Chief, I'm the chief of staff. The staff work for me, not for the president, which is, I think,
And he says, "I work for the Cubs." Yeah.
yeah, they work for him, which I think is a weird thing to say because, the president's, the buck stops there with the president, so they're not working for the president, and they're working for him, and she says maybe that's the case.
What?
Is John Kelly running the country then, and not Donald Trump, who was elected?
Ooh la la.
That's the other thing. And then the other issue was, which I wanted you to hear about, this goes more into some of the more recent, like, Me Too stuff, was she said it was totally inappropriate for her to be basically locked in the Situation Room with 3 men.
Oh yeah.
And that's why she's made the recordings, because she's getting a lot of flack.
Yeah, because they
for-
locked her in the room.
Yeah,
Like
they wouldn't
kept
let her leave.
prisoner,
They wouldn't
locked
let
in a
her
room with 3
speak
men.
with her
Who were the
husband.
3 men?
Lawyers. They wouldn't let her speak.
Whose lawyers? Hers or theirs?
No, theirs. They wouldn't let her speak with her lawyers.
Wouldn't let her speak to her husband.
Her husband was outside the room, wouldn't let her speak with her husband. You can hear in the beginning of the recording, he tells her assistant to leave. And so she's in the room with John Kelly, the 3 lawyers. John Kelly fires her, and then she's left with the lawyers.
In the room.
And she says that's totally inappropriate to be locked in the room with 3 men. That's why she's made the recordings.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Well, absolutely. What is she supposed to do? It's like the Me Too, sign the NDA so that she can't prove that they've abused her. I mean, she's not popular. Like people like Piers and all of this, it's very. So we know that the Piers Omarosa fight really, you said, was happened on The Apprentice, The American Apprentice. So they were opponents there. He won, she didn't, and it's been bitterness and battle between them ever since. But both of them are a bit sort of cartoon panto people anyway, and are averse to a bit of jeopardy to keep themselves relevant and their opinions heard and listened to. So, but is there a proper deep disliking, or is it all for television and social media? Because he does it with Alan Sugar as well. He kind of does it with everyone, doesn't he? But Omarosa, so that's what she did wrong. She used a state car, an official car, for her personal use rather than a business use. Yes, naughty, but surely that's tap on the wrist.
Do you think that
Not
it's
fire.
because she's a strong black woman?
Well, the thing is, she's in dangerous territory because there is this stereotypical angry black woman who's militant and defensive and combative, that everyone talks about, fears and dislikes and discourages, although really what gets thrown away with the bathwater is that these women are usually educated, intelligent, presentable, attractive, classy, and ballsy. Like, she knows what she's talking about. So I could see how a woman like that wouldn't be liked anyway, because the last thing anybody in Trump's camp wants is a powerful, intelligent black woman sounding off about anything. And like I said, though, that's not usually welcome in most places. And I'm wondering if that's what she's really done wrong. And the fact that
I think that's what it has to do with, and I think the fact that she was so close to Donald Trump, we have to remember, before all of this, they used each other, they say, and she used him to get her fame, and he used her because he wanted somebody.
he needed somebody black.
Yeah. And she gave him what he wanted. She gave him the negative news stories because she said when the president calls you and asks for negative news stories, you give it to him.
So what kind of negative news stories was she giving?
Just whatever was negative about him and would set him off on Twitter. And I think John Kelly might have had a problem with that
So
too.
he wanted her to feed him negative stories so that he could sound off.
Yeah.
So she was doing that. So basically it's House of Cards, isn't it? It's House of Cards, and except they're not married, thank God. So they've used each other. They've step laddered up to the top, and now one of them has to go, and he's the president, so she had to go. So Unhinged is the name of the book.
Yes.
When was it
today.
released? It's out today. And in Unhinged,
she goes into all of this. She goes into her early life and some of the things that she went through, some of the trauma with her father being murdered.
But her father wasn't murdered, anything to do with her politics.
Nothing to do with that. This was.
So it's her early life, early life trauma.
And then she talks about throughout the book from what I've heard her say, her tracking of this recording, which is said to be in Los Angeles.
So she's trying to find the recording
where
he uses the N-word.
She's found it.
She's found it.
And she heard it over the weekend. She had heard, because in the campaign they had heard that this recording existed. Mm-hmm. And they had heard it existed, and she's been trying to find it.
She wants to use it as evidence against.
And she's afraid that they're going to release it during the election for political motivations. She doesn't think it should be released for political motivations.
No, it should be to expose him as being racist.
Yeah.
So my problem is that if she uses it to expose him for being racist, come on, we all know that anyway.
Yeah.
But if she releases it to show that, the effect it's going to have, I think, is going to backfire a bit, because let's face it, black people are not voting for Trump anyway, right? So more black people are not going to vote, but racist America is going to vote even more, because their king has not let them down, has he?
And a lot of people are saying about Omarosa as well, and I wanted to ask you if you thought this is potentially the case. She's now started to have a grudge and vendetta against Donald Trump right when she's got her book deal. And she's worked for him for years. She didn't resign a year ago when the Charlottesville thing happened, where there was Nazis in the streets, and Donald Trump said there was good people on both sides because there was people protesting against the Nazis.
Yeah.
She didn't resign then. She didn't speak out then. Now that
she's
been
speaking
fired
out.
and she has a book deal, she's starting to speak out. Do you think that's the case?
I mean, you know what? Obviously, she's a very ambitious woman. So, yeah, I think that she was biding her time. I think they probably were very close, and I think, it's easy to admire someone and like them a lot, and then you get close to them and you learn more and more and more, and then you see their true colours. So she's probably been biding her time. Knew that her days were numbered. The fact that the head of staff wasn't even talking to her, so she knew she wasn't accepted, wasn't liked, and that she's chosen her moment. But yeah, I don't think it looks good that she stuck by him to the Charlottesville. But I think maybe in this book she'll also talk about what she really thought about that and what she thought about it at the time. And also she would have been quite vulnerable as well, because I think when you're put in a position of power like that, you are obliged to work for the people who put you there. And she is just one woman against a president and the whole system. So she would have needed to bide our time well. And I think it's probably quite clever to do it now with the book, because I want to read the book, don't you?
I can't wait to get it.
Have we ordered it?
It's just come out today, so.
So people, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, or if you know more about it than I do, but this is the book that's coming. It's called Unhinged.
Unhinged. Big firestorm in the U.S. right
It's
now.
a huge firestorm in the U.S. right now. Those of you who don't know, I sound very English because I went to boarding school here, but I am American. I am an Obama kid. We're not going to go into that. Yeah, things are kicking off, and people need to. We need to get a different president. We need a different president. But I'm not sure that Omarosa's book's going to help us to do that, because I think the people who put him there because he is the man that Omarosa is going to expose him to be.